Alright, good morning everybody. So, today is the January 20th. Was on Facebook. I posted up a couple videos and a couple photos of my build here on the farm or the homestead. And if you're one of those subscribers that just logged in, we're currently at like 628 people. So I just want to give you guys a big shout out and say thank you for finding your way to my channel. There is literally so many exciting things that I want to share with you guys about, from builds to how I live an average day in the life of me here on my homestead in northern Canada. But a lot of people have been reaching out to me and asking me a lot of questions about about how to get started, how to become a homesteader, how to be an off-gridder, how to leave that life that we've been taught to chase after, right? So as much as I really want to take you on, say, a snowmobile ride, or, you know, take you out on the trap line, do some builds around here, I think there's some more pressing information that we need to cover. I need to answer some questions for you guys, because we need to have a relationship. Me as a producer and you as my audience, I want to be able to interact with you guys on a level where there's trust, communication, and some guidance, right? So on today's video, we're going to be talking about, now that you have some land, now what? What do you do? So you got some land, right? And you might be feeling bombarded with, how do I start? Where do I start? Is this ever going to come together? These are questions that are going to come to your mind. And I think that I would be able to really give you some direction here, because there is a lot of things that I didn't think about when I bought this property, okay? I had listed my farm for sale in southern Ontario, and I didn't really know. I was like, oh, it's a good idea, right? List the farm. And my farm sold in 4 days. Okay, the lady that bought my farm, she wanted me out in a month, and I was kind of like slew-footed. I didn't know what to do, right? Like, so I got a month. I got a month to decide where I'm gonna go, where I'm gonna live, and how am I gonna do it. It was in December. I had to be out in December 18th. I had to be out of my place. So I had to take some pretty, I had to gather my thoughts and my feelings and go about it as best as I could. So I had bought some land, I found some land, and now we might be at the same kind of point where you have some land and you don't really know where to begin. So let's just hit this up with when you want to move. When do you want to move into your new land, okay? So you got to have a move-in date, and preferably that's not in December, or when it's like lots of snow on the ground, or it's extremely cold, or there's frost and things are frozen up. Ideally, you want to move in early spring. That's the best time to move, where you can kind of start working with the ground right away. That's one thing that I wish I could have changed, was my move-in date. But those were just the cards I was dealt. Okay, so you have a move-in date. Let's take a look at a few things. One, where are you going to live? Does the place clearly, like the new piece of land that you bought, does it have some structures, or is there something there that you can live in? Are you going to be buying a small cabin? My cabin originally was only 16 feet wide by 24 feet deep. Pretty small dwelling with the loft. But we made it work, okay? So if you have to build a dwelling or a livable space, I suggest one of the easiest things to do is maybe have a backup. Maybe buy an older camp trailer, say from the 80s. You can get these things for about $200 to $500. They don't have to be roadworthy. You just have to be able to sleep in them, eat in them, and rest, okay? Just a temporary shelter. And after you're done, say, construction of your house or your dwelling, you can actually utilize a lot of the amazing stuff out of that camping trailer. One, you can take out the propane furnace, you can take out the propane fridge, you can take out the propane water heater, and you can use the stove. Those are some very nice, cheap ways to have some amenities in your dwelling. With a simple 20 or 40 pound propane tank, you now can have hot water. You can bake a pizza or cook some coffee or boil some water, whatever. You have a way to warm up food, which is huge, right? Personally, I didn't want to boil water on a wood stove. I mean, that does work. But for just my own personal preference, I wanted all the amenities of everyday living, but off-grid. And I know that's maybe not completely feasible for everybody, but that's just the route that I chose to take, right? I wanted to have hot water, wanted to have these things. So buy yourself an old camping trailer, regardless if you're going to stay in it or not. Those 5 items that you could get for about $250 are game changers, okay? The propane furnace at nighttime is so nice. It's on a thermostat. I don't have one here in my cabin yet, but that's because I don't have a job. What a bum. But the propane accessories is a very nice little thing to have if need be, if you're not going to be able to stay on your homestead full time yet, right? The propane furnace will engage when you're at work, and it will keep keep your water lines and stuff from freezing, or your house plants or whatever it is, your dogs, your cats. So with that being said, you have somewhere to stay on your land, okay? It may not be permanent, but that's okay. It's all a growing process and learning as we go. But you need to assess your new land and how it speaks to you. Now, that's going to sound really weird. But when you buy a piece of land, you know, there's some natural contours to it. And where do you see yourself living on this land? Where do you see your garden being? If you're going to put in a root cellar, you kind of want that close to the house. Are you going to have chickens? If, you don't want to have your chicken coop, say, upwind on a hot summer's day. You might get a little bit of an odor blowing in, right? You don't want your livestock or whatever north of your living area, just for smell reasons, right? You want to kind of keep that stuff more to out of the prominent wind. So when you're assessing your land, you're going to want to look at the layout. You're going to want to find out, I know this sounds really like common sense-ish, but you want to know where north is, okay? That's a big thing. You have to have a vision. You have to think on it. Just don't instantly be like, yeah, I want to live here, I want to have this here, have that. Really put some thought and some strategy behind it. If it snows, where can you move snow to that's not going to be in the way when you're clearing snow? Where is your water on your land? Water is the biggest thing that I wish I would have pursued as soon as I got on my property. I hated hauling water. I hated drinking bottled water. It was not only expensive to buy that stuff, but everything on your homestead's going to be based on your water supply. From your animals to your garden to your own self, everything, absolutely everything revolves around water. So find water on your land. If you know somebody that knows how to do some water witching, definitely contact them or get some feelers put out in the local area. Talk to them about their water situations. Ideally, you want to figure this out even before you buy the land. Make sure, or go around, do some research, what other people in your area are doing for water and how the water is. Personally, I wish I would have put my well a little bit closer to my dwelling, but I had somebody over to Witch for Water, and he suggested that we put my well in about 200 feet away from the house. That's pretty close, but I would have liked to have it closer. Because depending on how far away your well is from your house, you have to bury that water line below the frost level, right? You have to figure out, also, ask some locals, how far does the frost go into the ground? If there's going to be vehicles driving over your water line, now you'll be like, what do you mean? Clearly nobody's going to be driving over my water line. But say your well is across your driveway and you just have to cross that every day in the wintertime, whether you're still going to work or whatever. The more you drive over frozen ground, the more the frost keeps going down and down and down. You're driving that, you're pounding that into the earth. So if it's going to be over an area, say even 8 feet down, that's where my water line's buried, 8 feet underneath the ground. And mine doesn't get driven over or drove over. But if it did, I would have put a little bit of styrofoam, 2 or 4 inches of styrofoam, just over that 8 or 10 foot piece that vehicles are going to be driving over. That will stop the frost from freezing your water line. So water, you have to think of water. It's a big one. You're going to need to prioritize your work and your efforts, right? At times you're going to feel overwhelmed, stressed, and upset because you're taking on a workload that's pretty heavy. And it's very easy to get discouraged, guys. It's very easy to break down and cry and feel upset and question yourself about your decision on this journey. And let me just reassure you guys that those are all things that I felt. These are all things that I wanted to give up a lot of different times. My hands, they were bleeding. My back hurt. My body was hurting. Just being able to deal with, just not the quiet, but all these other factors that had been coming into my life immediately for me to survive, right? How am I going to drink some water? How's my dog going to drink water? How are my chickens going to get some water? Right? And those feelings will come, but I assure you, if you wake up every day and you have a plan, and you don't let those feelings hinder you, you work over them, you put them off to the side, and you say, I can do this. We got this, right? Staying positive is so big, and knowing your goals and how much work that you really want to get done in that season. Here in Saskatchewan, we don't have a super long season to build, okay? Like, the frost doesn't leave the ground till usually, early May. May 2-4 weekend, we usually like to try and put our plants into the earth. The ones that we've maybe already germinated some seeds and started to have some small, nice, stout plants. But it pretty much goes from early May to September. September, we've had snow, we've had freezing in September. So my season here is quite short. Have realistic goals and dreams on how much you want to get done, guys. That is huge, okay? And don't start a water source and then you're going to hop over to a chicken coop and then you want to start a garden. Don't do any of those things. Have one goal for me, it would be water right away, putting in a well, and getting that water to the house. Okay, how do you get the water to the house? I would make that my first goal. Secondly is building an outhouse. Somewhere that you can go to the washroom and be comfortable and sit down, okay? I didn't build one of those in December. I literally had to go to the washroom outside in the freezing cold and make it quick. So prioritize your work schedule. Don't have multiple builds going on that they just kind of seem to be dragging on and dragging on and dragging on. Set a goal, reach it, and be done with it, okay? Get them done. Get done your projects on a timely matter. Don't take on too much work that you're going to feel overwhelmed with, right? That goes right into having dates and timelines for your work. If you're subscribed to this channel, I will be going through you with different dates and timelines, how long it took me to do different things. I put a well in, sorry, let me go back. I put a well into my sunken greenhouse, okay? That consists of a 6-inch bored hole going 20 feet into the earth and then putting a casing in. I'm going to be launching that video to teach you guys how to put a shallow well in for next to no money. I wish I would have known that when I started this build, because I could have had water at my place in a matter of days. That would have been such a big thing for me, but I had no idea. Nobody told me about it. Nobody in my family is an off-gridder, and I didn't really know where to look online. When I was kind of going into thinking about becoming an off-gridder, I saw all these fairy tale-istic lives, or Instagram lives, we'll call them, online, where people made it look really easy, but it's not. It's not that way at all, guys. I know that you guys have seen what I've built, but it wasn't always like that. Like, it was a lot of hard work and a lot of time and a lot of effort and money too, right? You have to be realistic with the money. So make sure that you set out appropriate dates and timelines for the work that you have planned, so that you can get it done in the according season that you want to achieve that job on, or that project. Secondly, think of your building materials. Those are very key, and always remember that there's always opportunity out there if you're willing to pay attention to the opportunity. I kind of like to think of that on the red car theory, right? So how many red cars have you seen today, guys? You'd be saying, oh, I saw quite a few, right? Now, if I were to tell you that I give you $50 for every red car that you guys see, you'd be a lot more attentive to noticing red cars, right? Well, the same thing happens in life and with building materials. Whether you're going to the thrift store, whether you have some friends that have a farm, there's going to be opportunity there to score some amazingly good deals for a fraction of the price if you're paying attention. Now you say, of course I'll be paying attention. But really, a lot of the time we get in these like modes of cruise control in our lives, and we're not really attentive to our surroundings and what's around us, right? So if you're at somebody's farm, or you're driving by a yard sale or a thrift store or somewhere that you can find secondhand items or building materials, just take a couple minutes and stop in there. Just go in there, and up here, when you've had, when you're prioritizing your work, there might be something that you could get for a fraction of the price if you're just paying attention to your surroundings. I've been out to multiple people's farms when I'm selling honey or whatever, right? there's a lot of opportunity out there if you're just paying attention. So, yeah. So, now that we've kind of covered on that you have some land, you kind of have some goals and ideas of what you want to get accomplished first on your land, you got to find out your plan, okay? Write it down. I suggest maybe a whiteboard like this to document. Everybody gets ideas coming in and out, but ideas or dreams per se. But write them down. It's important to write down your ideas so you can focus on them. So you wake up every morning and you're like, okay, honey, or maybe you're talking to your dog like I do, but we got to work on the water today, right? Every day you wake up until you can just erase that and the water's no longer an issue, whether it be water, whether it be an outhouse, solar, some lighting, right? We're going to get into a little bit of lighting situations and stuff here. Just one sec. All right, sorry about that. When I went down and grabbed myself a fresh coffee. So, do you guys want to play pretend? Okay. So, you have a place to stay. You have a water source, okay? You're going to need some power. Right? You're going to need some lighting. Here in Saskatchewan, it gets dark real fast in winter. Like around the winter solstice, like there'll be days that the cloud cover, sometimes a week, no sun. So having a little bit of artificial lighting in your dwelling can really brighten your mood, okay? So oil lamps. Oil lamps, they're cheap. I think they're like, you can run them all day long for like, I think it's like 5 cents an hour or something. Super cheap. They put out some good light. But solar lights, and I don't mean cheap ones from the dollar store. I would not suggest buying those because they come with, they're just cheaply made. I like going to places like Home Depot, looking at their premium solar lights, and then purchasing them, say one that has a nice big panel. They usually come out of aluminum. I like aluminum or a steel product over plastic solar lights. They just seem to be a little bit more heavy duty. But solar lighting is a very good, cheap way, so you don't have to have a massive solar system to have lights in your place, guys. If you change the battery out that comes in the pre-bought, say by 50 lights, those little string lights, I have them downstairs. I think there's 25 lights actually, not 50. But they can give out a lot of light for say 3 to 4 hours, especially in the wintertime. If the solar panel's facing south facing, so the sun can hit it. But changing out the small crappy battery from that system is big. So buy yourself some good rechargeable batteries off Amazon. Amazon seems to be the cheapest place to buy them, but swapping out the original battery that comes, even it might be brand new, you can put in a Ziploc bag, label it, store it off to the side. But for more of your, say your house or my greenhouse or whatever it is, and you, with those premium lights, you're going to want to get that newer battery in there so they last longer and they charge better. You'll get more time and use out of them for not a lot of money. But if you're thinking about maybe buying a solar system or investing in one in the near future, you only ever want to size the system to your shortest days around winter, okay? Because in the summertime you'll have so much power, you won't even know what to do with it all. And most of the time you'll be outside not utilizing or using that power. It's the winter months that are the most critical. Summertime, the sun's out all the time. You're making all kinds gobs of power. But it's the winter months, those are the months that you really need to concentrate on how much power you're going to need. What kind of things are you going to want to run in your house that take power? Okay, I have a submersible pump in my well. It's 120 volt. It's a Red Lion, 4-inch diameter submersible pump. Takes quite a bit of power. Okay, so I went with an 8 kilowatt system myself, personally. 8 kilowatts. I have 18 gel batteries. They're you can't touch them, like they're sealed gel batteries. 2 charge controllers. We're going to do a video on my system, but you don't need a system that big right away, okay? You don't. A little Honda generator, inverter generator. Get yourself one of those. They're amazing, they're quiet, and they can really solve a lot of your temporary power situation problems. That's what I used for a year and a half. Like, a year? Regardless. That's where I was getting all my power from in the evening, right? It's how I charge my batteries for my power tools and all this, right? So, back to the solar system. Know what you're going to be running. Sorry, we got a little sidetracked there. Know what you're going to be running. Hot water tank I have. I have a fridge that has a freezer. I have, this YouTube studio area of this gaming laptop takes quite a bit of power, if you can believe that. But I have a lot of things that take rechargeable batteries, from this camera to my GoPros to all the 110 lighting in the house, the water pump, submersible pump, that takes a lot of power. And when the winter really sets in, when it's minus 20, those batteries don't perform quite as well. I would like to get them in more of a warmer environment to keep them operating better. It's like, in the wintertime, your car has trouble starting. It's like, rah, rah, rah. It's because your battery's cold. Well, your solar system batteries, when they get cold, they're going to perform very similar to that. They're not at the optimum temperature for working. So write down all the things that you're going to want to have in your house, and then design your solar system around the amenities that you want. Okay, I wouldn't cheap out on the solar. That's just my own personal opinion. I mean, everybody has their own. But if you can financially afford the power, whether it's $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, it's really important, right, to have some power, and especially when you're running livestock, right, running a lot of water. You're going to want to have a decent amount of power that you can utilize those pumps, okay? So we've kind of talked about the solar system in the wintertime. I also want to talk to you guys about how to use your energy properly. I don't shower every day. I don't turn my hot water tank on unless I'm going to be taking a shower, and I only shower on sunny days when the sun is in full contact with my solar array. That's when I shower. Could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually that seems to be the optimum time. I turn my hot water tank on and then I shower. I try not to use a lot of lighting in my house. When I'm done in one room, I always turn the light out, right? Conserving your power is important. I don't use my hot water from my hot water tank only for showering. When I'm doing the dishes, I'll boil water on the stove, the propane stove, because it's a lot more efficient, doesn't tax my batteries, right? If it's been sunny for a lot of days and the forecast looks like it's going to be continually sunny, you can use a little bit more of your power. But you always have to be thinking about that, right? That you want to make sure that your batteries always have some juice in them. It's not good to run them down low and then in dead cold of winter they freeze up or something, right? You always want to make sure that those babies have some power in them. So having a way to monitor how much life or energy is in your battery with a monitor, digital monitor, that's a very good thing to have. Most charge controllers have them, but you can also buy cheap displays. I actually have one downstairs. Maybe I'll go run and grab that. So this is a nice piece here. We're going to be installing this into my room where all my batteries are, my charge controllers are. This gives me, let's open it up, we'll talk to you about it. Essentially, it's just a big battery monitor. Looks like this. And it lets me know everything that my solar system's doing without me having to go into the, into the room. And you'd say, well, why don't you just go into the room, right? Well, it's not good always to, if it's a heated room, to open up that door and let the cold get in there, right? So, one sec, turn this light on. There. So having that externally outside the room will be a game changer. So that heated room, the heat stays in there, because guys, it gets down to minus 30 out here, right? And that little room, I think it's about 6 feet by 8 feet. It's pretty small. Doesn't take long for that cold air to suck all that warmth out of there. So having an external monitor to read your batteries is a very nice thing to have. I haven't installed that yet. I've had that for about 1.5 years now. It still hasn't made its way into that room, but it's a lot, right? That's why I'm saying make sure that you have your jobs laid out and you prioritize them, because there is so much work that has to get done around here. And now since I started this YouTube channel, my mind is just always going now. So I hope that some of this stuff here on this whiteboard brings a little bit more clarity to your current situation. Whether you've already bought land, you're thinking about buying land, don't rush into anything just because of, that you're excited, right? That this is what you want. Be patient and put a lot of thought into it and really break each piece down into its own sector of time management, how much each project costs. I did a well video for you guys, if you've made it this far, on how to put a well in by hand, a shallow well in a casing. So be sure to look in my videos for that. I'll be launching it here shortly. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Like I say, if you made it this far, that's awesome. Be sure to like and leave some comments in this video. It's hard to address everybody's. I have a lot of people messaging me right now on social platforms with all kinds of wonderful questions. But it's hard enough to live off grid and, get done your chores and cook and clean and, enjoy life a bit. And the YouTube channel on top, it's a lot, right? So if you guys leave those comments in the chat or in the video, some nights I can just go through and hopefully answer those for you guys. I'm also thinking about putting on an educational series, live streaming We could probably pick a night, say Friday or Saturday night, when you guys are, maybe Sunday, when you guys are free, that you guys could tune in to my channel live and ask me questions, and I can answer for you guys directly right then and there. If that's something that you guys would enjoy or be interested in tuning into, it would be my pleasure to go live, or maybe do some live vlogs on how the day's going and answering your questions as they come. That won't be right away, because at 1,000 subscribers, it's kind of like the milestone on YouTube that you have to kind of get over with 4,000 watch hours. Then they kind of like unleash some special things that you can do. We're not quite there yet, but the channel's growing quite a bit. It's growing pretty fast, so I don't think we're going to be too far off to where we can interact with each other, just not over, you know, through these videos, but actually have some live content where you guys can see me and talk to me in live format, or whatever that, like, half the time I don't even know the right words to say, because it's like, this is all new to me. I haven't touched a computer in 10 years. And now we're working on a channel here together. So please understand that this is a big learning step for me. The homestead was a very fun build, but the channel is pretty intense. Like, there is so much to learn. Like, you got to learn how to film it, you got to learn how to edit it, you have to learn how to present it to people, and it's just a learning process. So this is only my 2nd month, so please be patient with me, guys. I will get better, I promise. But more importantly, let's get you guys some information that you're needing on your own personal journeys to being an off-gridder. So let's stay tuned. We're going to be launching a few more videos here this week. How I put a well in by hand, the costs on things. I want to break down with you guys. We'll go through my own personal solar system, what it consists of, how it runs, what my diesel generator looks like, how all these things. There's just so much content here on this, potentially for me to share with you guys. I have to strategically think on how and what is most beneficial to you guys, my subscribers, and your own journeys to becoming more self-reliant, okay? And I think that we're going to, as much as I want to take you guys on some snowmobile rides and go out picking sheds and doing some cool projects, I think there's a greater need here for you guys to actually get more of an educational experience and hearing the problems and the solutions I came up with for those problems during my first year of me living here in the woods. So anyways, hope this maybe just tugged at a couple strings going on in your brain, and let's just have a good time together as I learn how to navigate YouTube, and that we connect to each other on a personal level. I think that's going to be the foundation of this channel, is me explaining to you guys how I did all this, and how you guys hopefully don't have to go through the problems that I did, and maybe I could be your mentor per se and help you figure out how to achieve a better life away from the hustle and bustle of the rat race. So let's work together. I appreciate you guys. Whoever subscribed this past week, there's 628 of you guys out there that are digging my channel, and I just want to say thank you. And I'm really excited to share with you guys my journey here in Saskatchewan, and the good times and the bad times. I want to show you guys as much as I can. So yeah, peace out till the next one, which will probably be in a few days. Take care and God bless. All right.